The white coach suddenly made strange gestures on his face, secretly signaling his players to aim for the opposing black player's eyes with the ball. The first pitch. The man dodged swiftly but lost his balance. The crowd erupted into loud boos. Everyone knew it was intentional, but no one was willing to stand up for a black man. The second pitch. The opponents tried the same dirty trick, but this time, the ball struck him directly in the face. Once again, the arena was filled with deafening boos. Yet the white players continued their mockery. The man's rhythm was completely disrupted by those two malicious pitches. The third round. Finally, the opposing pitcher threw a proper ball, but by then, the man's composure had shattered. The bat weakly hit the ball, sending it into a limp arc in the air. The catcher on the opposing team effortlessly caught it. Defeat. He lost the game. Though he tried to suppress his anger, the frustration within him boiled over, begging for release. Jackie understood that reason is the guiding light of action, while emotion fuels it. The wise channel their emotions through reason, but the foolish are ruled by them. So, he composed himself and stepped back onto the field, only to face unrelenting insults from his opponents. Watch monkey. The most unbearable insult was the vulgar and cutting remarks about his beloved wife. Jackie decisively signaled for a timeout, snatching the bat from a teammate. He wanted to fight back, but even then, his opponents wouldn't stop, spewing vile words about his wife. Gripping the bat tightly, it became his last shred of dignity. In this moment of humiliation, his trembling body reflected his struggle to hold back. Thankfully, just before his anger could overpower his reason, he managed to regain control over his emotions. Look at me, baby. He knew all of this was part of their scheme, to provoke him into losing control. Jackie turned and walked off the field, disappearing into the narrow passage. The pain of failure on the field left him no choice but to leave. But when they returned home, they faced yet another act of senseless discrimination. When his wife walked into a restroom reserved for white people, their plane tickets were canceled on the spot. To make matters worse, their seats were handed over for free to two white passengers. This humiliation and injustice were unbearable for him, but the receptionist immediately reached for the phone. With no other options, he and his teammates boarded a bus instead. But what he didn't expect was that the restroom at this remote gas station was just as inaccessible as the high-end white-only restrooms at the airport. Yo, come on, boy. You know you can't go in there. This time, however, he chose not to swallow his anger. Instead, he told the station owner to put down the fuel nozzle. Take that hose out of the tank, Robinson. What did he say? Take it out. Get out 99 gallons of gas someplace else. The owner, who had never encountered such resolute defiance from a black man, was forced to submit under financial pressure, lowering his head in defeat. When Jackie exited the restroom, however, he found a group of white men surrounding him. The sight made him uneasy. One of the men stormed toward him aggressively. Who are you? He was then led into a spacious and well-lit office. It turned out that the prestigious Dodgers baseball team had already taken an interest in him. The owner planned to bring on a black player to expand the team's influence in the New York market. Before this, the owner had reviewed countless resumes of black players, but was especially drawn to Jackie, a young talent. Not only did he boast an impressive .350 batting average, but he was also a graduate of UCLA and had faced off against white players many times before. Moreover, during his service as an Army officer, he had stood against segregation and been court-martialed for it. In that solemn courtroom, he debated fiercely with 3 judges, holding his ground with confidence. This fiery and straightforward personality proved that he wasn't afraid to compete alongside white players. However, the assistant was deeply concerned. In the American Baseball League, there was an unspoken rule. Black players were deemed too lowly to share the field with their white counterparts. But the owner dismissed those concerns. Colors aren't black and white. He then made Jackie a solemn promise. If you join us, I'll pay you a top-tier salary of $600 a month, plus a $3,500 signing bonus. And who knows, you might even make it to the Hall of Fame, standing shoulder to shoulder with legends. But the first condition is that you must control your temper and endure the humiliation that may come your way. Yes, your temper. What, are you deaf? Because of your skin color, when you step onto that sacred field, You may face a storm of insults and ridicule. When you walk into restaurants, you may encounter waitstaff's arrogance and prejudice. When you enter hotels, the front desk's malicious provocation may greet you. And even if you sleep on the streets, you might be unjustly driven away. But no matter what happens, you must remain composed and never fight back. You want a player who doesn't have the guts to fight back? No. I want a player who's got the guts not to fight back. We win with it, hit it, running. Feel only that you are a fine gentleman and a great baseball player. The owner's words deeply moved Jackie. He resolutely accepted the challenge, fully aware of the thorns that lay ahead. At this moment, Jackie had only one thought: to fear neither the future, nor dwell on the past, but to give it his all. Now, give me a number on my back. I'll give you the guts. From that moment, a legendary chapter in baseball history began to unfold. During daily training, Jackie displayed extraordinary talent. His quick reflexes, precise catches, and powerful throws were executed in an instant, as light and swift as petals carried by the wind. A brilliant double play left everyone on the field in awe. The owner watched in admiration and remarked, "He's like a superhero." But the head coach, with a hint of disdain, sneered and said, "So what if he's good? At the end of the day, he's still just a lowly black man." Hearing this, the owner's smile faded, and his expression turned serious, though he didn't want to argue with the coach about such deeply ingrained prejudice. He felt it was necessary to correct the coach's attitude toward Jackie. You will either manage Robinson fairly or correctly. Though reluctant, the coach had no choice but to clap along in agreement, forced by the weight of authority. Time flew by, and soon, the first exhibition game arrived. As Jackie stepped onto the field, the black section of the audience erupted in cheers, but the white section hurled waves of jeers and insults, as fierce as a raging storm. Even the opposing players spat in his direction to show their disdain. But Jackie, prepared for such treatment, remained calm and unfazed. He swung his bat eagerly, determined to shatter the doubt and ridicule with a single strike. The pitcher, in an act of mockery and contempt, threw the ball straight at Jackie's face. It was not just a taunt, but a clear sign of disrespect. Yet Jackie's heart remained steady, as calm as still water. He even let out a quiet laugh, which only infuriated his opponent further. Frustrated and humiliated, the pitcher threw 4 consecutive bad balls, sending Jackie to second base. This was his strongest position. Jackie began to move left and right, reading every movement of his opponent like a book. "Throw it over there. What are you waiting for?" He safely made it to base, standing firmly on the field. In the following rounds, Jackie used his side-to-side movements to disrupt the pitcher's focus. With his agility and speed, he made another successful run to base. The black audience erupted into thunderous applause and cheers, while the white section responded with scattered boos. In that brief moment of chaos, only the owner cheered for Jackie. The humiliated pitcher pointed at Jackie and shouted insults, desperately trying to save face. But the more he cursed, the more he revealed his pettiness and shame. Jackie, however, maintained his composure, choosing silence as the most powerful response. Jackie understood that on the road to success, storms and challenges are the norm. Perseverance is the mindset, and determination is the state of being. To conquer the waves, one must face them head-on. Ultimately, with his unshakable resolve, Jackie broke the pitcher's psychological defenses, causing him to waste the final critical pitch. Jackie led his team to their first victory, shining brightly on what was considered white territory. But how could the proud white players accept being defeated by someone they deemed inferior? An elderly white man warned them kindly, "If you don't leave tonight, there will be trouble in the morning." A reporter immediately contacted the owner for advice. The owner decisively instructed him to get Jackie out of there quickly, without revealing the real reason. The owner feared that if Jackie learned the truth, he might resort to violence. In response to the racial discrimination, this would only put him in grave danger. On the way out, Jackie remained silent, sullen and contemplative. Suddenly, a car blocked their path. A group of white men approached them aggressively. The reporter, sensing danger, stepped on the gas and sped away. "What the hell, Wendell?" Only then did the reporter explain everything to Jackie. But Jackie laughed. "Ha ha ha. And what the hell are you laughing at? I thought you woke me." because I'd been cut from the team. The trials of life had tempered his character, making him composed and deep. Though the walls of prejudice still stood tall, they could not deter his pursuit of distant dreams. Jackie had thought about giving up many times, but he refused to admit defeat, refused to wallow in self-pity, and refused to see himself as a victim of fate. When the road ahead is unclear, and the future seems distant, the key is to endure longer than others, because the beauty of blooming flowers and the abundance of harvests require time and perseverance. In the next exhibition game in DeLand, Jackie once again amazed everyone. With his outstanding performance, he sped across the field like black lightning, his explosive energy igniting wild cheers from the black audience. But in a critical moment of the game, a white police officer stormed onto the field, angrily demanding that Jackie leave the game, claiming it was illegal for black players to play with whites. He went so far as to threaten, "If Jackie doesn't leave immediately, I'll take him away." This baseless obstruction and intimidation was not only an insult to Jackie, but to all black athletes. "Now you tell your nigga I said to get." In the end, Jackie was forced to leave the field. His team, without him, suffered a narrow 1-2 defeat. Jackie could only take a quiet walk with his wife on the streets, hoping the peaceful moment might calm the waves within his heart. Just then, a white man stormed toward them with an imposing air. Jackie instinctively shielded his wife behind him, but the man said something completely unexpected. "I want you to know, I'm pulling for you to make good. A lot of folks around here feel the same way, man." This was proof that Jackie's talent had begun earning the recognition of some white people. Through the cracks in the wall of prejudice, a faint ray of fairness had started to shine, but his teammates still couldn't accept Jackie, nor could they acknowledge his exceptional skills. Their deeply ingrained beliefs prevented them from accepting the reality of playing alongside a black man. To force Jackie off the team, all the players signed a petition and submitted it to the owner. The owner, however, ignored it. Instead, he immediately called the coach, waking him up in the middle of the night, and told him to educate the players who had signed the petition. In the dead of night, the coach gathered the team, banging pots and pans to wake them up. In a stern voice, he laid out the severity of the situation. "I don't care if he's yellow or black, or has stripes like a zebra. If Robinson can help us win, and everything I've seen says he can, then he's gonna play on this ball club. Like it, love it, make your minds up to it, because he's coming." The he was not just Jackie. He was a symbol of all the talented black players who dreamed of sweating it out on the baseball field. They would follow in Jackie's footsteps, breaking into the white-dominated baseball world and proving their worth through their skills. The coach's words cut like a sword, striking the players at their core and touching their most sensitive vulnerabilities. What you're born with is not something to boast about. It's the grind that makes youth shine, and it's the struggle that elevates a life. If you don't want to be surpassed, the only option is to keep moving forward. Soon, good news arrived from the owner. After evaluating Jackie in multiple exhibition games, he decided to take Jackie with the team to Jersey City for an opening game. Excited, Jackie asked the owner why he made this decision. The owner replied calmly, "To win the World Series and to make more money." But Jackie understood. The reason was far more complicated. With high spirits, he boarded the train and embarked on a new journey. Before departing, he handed a baseball to a young boy. This simple gesture, seemingly insignificant at the time, would unknowingly inspire a future world champion. The boy chased after the roaring train, his determined gaze following it, until it disappeared into the distant woods. At that moment, he lowered his head, listening closely to the sound of his dreams galloping forward. The voice of his idol echoed endlessly along the tracks. "I can still hear." When Jackie arrived at the locker room for the game, he noticed that every player had a spacious, individual locker, while he only had a simple clothes rack. But Jackie had grown indifferent to such material disparities, because at last, he had his own jersey number and a rightful place on the official field. He walked alone through the dark, narrow tunnel, emerging onto the bright, open field. There, reporters bombarded him with loaded questions, and the insults and jeers from white fans surged like a tidal wave. Yet, in the face of his steadfast inner strength, these provocations seemed trivial. The accumulated dust of the past was brushed away, and the dormant season was reignited with passion. The spotlight was on Jackie, who swung his bat with practiced precision. On the verdant field, an extraordinary spectacle was about to unfold. The ball shot through the air like a meteor, flying out of the park. With a stunning home run, Jackie set the crowd on fire. In that moment, he became the center of attention. Sometimes, we don't need to rush to prove ourselves. We only need to let our strength accumulate quietly. When the time comes to swing, it will speak for itself. Even if life feels like an endless journey filled with heartbreak, stay resilient and cross the river. From the mountaintop, you'll see rivers rushing below. From the summit, you'll feel the mighty winds. As the game progressed, Jackie's sharp instincts and precise hitting sent the opposing pitcher's fastballs flying. He sprinted toward the bases with lightning speed, although he clearly reached the base first, and the opposing player caught the ball later. The biased umpire called him out. Everyone knew this was blatant discrimination. The silence of the umpire was more deafening than any words could have been, a silent provocation. But the fire in Jackie's heart burned brighter. He was determined to use his undeniable skill to crush every ounce of injustice he faced. In the second round of the game, Jackie gripped the bat tightly, putting all his strength into his swing. The ball arched gracefully through the air and landed beyond the outfield fence. This brilliant home run not only defeated the Giants, but also served as Jackie's answer to injustice, his challenge to inequality. In a later game against Philadelphia, the opposing coach continuously hurled insults at Jackie, trying to shake his composure. He even gestured to his pitcher, signaling him to throw directly at Jackie's face. The first pitch came. Jackie reacted swiftly, but he fell to the ground. It was obvious to everyone that it was intentional, but even his teammates, who doubted him, joined in mocking him with the opponents. The cruel words chipped away at Jackie's mental defenses. "Let's do this. Got me? Careful in this sunshine? Huh? Baby skin gone melt." The second pitch came with the same malicious intent. The crowd erupted in boos, but the two bad pitches had already thrown off Jackie's rhythm. In the third round, the pitcher finally threw a proper ball, but Jackie, rattled, couldn't perform as usual. The opposing baseman caught his hit with ease. "You don't belong here, nigga. You hear me? Look in the mirror. This is a white man's game, all right? Get that through your thick monkey skull." Though Jackie managed to suppress his anger, the frustration bubbling inside him craved an outlet. The owner approached him, speaking words of reason. "In this racially charged game, if you lose your temper with an opponent, no one will care about the reason behind it. They won't say it was their fault for provoking you. They'll only call you hot-headed and say you don't belong here. But we need you to lead us through the storm and toward victory. You need to understand, right now, you are not just the hope of this team. You are the pride and aspiration of every black fan out there." Jackie understood the wisdom in those words and quickly regained his composure. He knew that while the weak seek revenge, the strong choose forgiveness, and the wise simply ignore. Guided by this principle, Jackie faced the insults from white fans with calm, endured the intentional provocations of opposing coaches, and suppressed his anger, because he knew these were mere stumbling blocks on his path to greatness, and one day, he would leave them all far behind. Jackie returned to the field, renewed and determined. The opposing coach's insults continued unabated, but they no longer fazed him. One of his teammates, however, could no longer tolerate the abuse. "You shut your mouth, or I'll shut it for you. This ain't happening." With his teammates standing up for him, Jackie felt the warmth and strength of teamwork for the first time. He was now more determined than ever to win for the team. When Jackie swung his bat, it carved a graceful arc through the air. He launched into action, racing toward the bases like an arrow shot from a bow. In that moment, the field became his stage for a solo performance. With his lightning-fast reflexes, Jackie turned the tide at a critical moment, securing a victory for his team by a single point. The crowd erupted in applause and cheers, but deep down, Jackie felt a twinge of loneliness. The insults still pierced his heart like bullets, and the injustice stung like a slap in the face. Perhaps only those who have experienced similar struggles can truly understand each other's pain. The journalist traveling with Jackie said to him, "You're not fighting alone. I'm with you. I have a talent for writing and dreamed of being a sports journalist, but because of my skin color, I couldn't even step into a newsroom." Now, I sit in the stands as an assistant, watching my dreams from afar. Though we endure the prejudice of others, our eyes hold vast rivers and mountains. What's a bit of autumn chill to us? Believe that the rewards will come. This suffering won't last forever. The two exchange smiles, bearing their burdens together. And those rewards, though small and gradual, had already begun to quietly arrive. The next day, the assistant worked furiously, writing an exposé on the Philadelphia coach's blatant acts of racial discrimination during the game. The article was published in the newspapers and created an uproar, sparking widespread public outrage. The tide of public sympathy overwhelmingly shifted toward Jackie, who had endured the insults with remarkable restraint. The Philadelphia coach was branded as a national disgrace and fell into disrepute. He was forced to issue a public apology and sought reconciliation with Jackie. A journalist, sensing an opportunity, suggested they shake hands for the cameras. Jackie, his eyes sharp and discerning, noticed the contempt still lurking in the coach's gaze. Instead of a direct handshake, he proposed that they each hold one end of a baseball bat as a symbol of unity, avoiding the awkwardness of physical contact. As the camera's shutter clicked, this historic moment was immortalized. Their photograph graced the cover of a magazine under the theme of black and white harmony, symbolizing the possibility of racial coexistence. But beneath this surface of reconciliation lay a complex reality. A single photograph could not bridge the deep chasm between races. In Pittsburgh, during another game, the opposing pitcher deliberately aimed at Jackie's head. Fully focused, Jackie failed to dodge in time and was struck hard, collapsing to the ground. This time, however, he wasn't alone. His teammates immediately rallied to his defense, protesting the foul play on his behalf. The field erupted into chaos, with tempers flaring and tension running high. Sitting on the ground, Jackie's eyes reflected a mixture of disbelief and gratitude. He had never imagined he would have teammates willing to stand by him like this. In that moment, he felt an unprecedented sense of unity and strength. On the way home, Jackie's wife clung tightly to his side. Her eyes lingered on the bruise on his forehead, and tears welled up as she gently sobbed. Jackie, however, remained composed, saying softly, "Those short-sighted people are just ignorant. Reason helps us discern right from wrong, and emotion teaches us to love life. When we plant flowers in our hearts, life won't become barren. But those who wear tinted glasses will never understand this." With only 2 games left to secure the championship, a sudden crisis emerged. The team captain brought a threatening letter to the owner. It turned out that some fans, displeased with the owner for accepting a black player, had resorted to intimidation. But the owner laughed dismissively after reading the letter. He opened a drawer and revealed stacks of similar letters, all containing threats against Jackie and his family. The contents of these letters were chilling. "Get out of baseball, or your baby boy will die. Quit baseball, or your nigga wife will." The captain was stunned by Jackie's mental fortitude. The sheer strength of character required to endure such threats left him in awe. This determination not only humbled the captain, but also ignited his own sense of resolve. No longer would he waver. He vowed to stand by Jackie and fight alongside him. The next day, the game began as scheduled. As Jackie stepped onto the field, he was greeted by the all-too-familiar jeers. "Hey, nigga Malone. Whoa, what the hell am I seeing tonight?" As always, Jackie chose to ignore the taunts. The captain, however, ran up to him, smiling. "All we need to do is win. When we win, all this trash talk will disappear." With that, he placed a hand on Jackie's shoulder, a gesture filled with quiet solidarity. In that moment, they stood together, bearing the waves of insults and jeers. But their hearts were unshakable, solid as a rock. This wasn't just a fight for victory in a game. It was a powerful rebuttal to racial discrimination. "Thank you, Jack," the captain said. "What are you thanking me for? I've got family out there in Louvre. I need them to know. I need them to know who I am. Maybe tomorrow, we'll all wear 42. That way, they won't tell us apart. Like trees in a forest growing close together, or stars in a galaxy shining brighter together." Jackie was no longer alone. He now had a growing circle of invaluable friends by his side. The game began, and the first pitch from the opposing team marked the start of a fierce contest. The captain caught the ball with precision and turned to pass it to Jackie. But as Jackie prepared to catch it, an opposing player deliberately stomped on him, knocking him to the ground in pain. His teammates immediately surrounded him, concerned and asking about his condition. Some even suggested retaliating in kind. Jackie, however, stopped them immediately. "This is an important game," he said. "We must win it fair and square." He gritted his teeth, endured the pain, and rose slowly to his feet, ready to rejoin the intense battle. If life presents mountains, carve a path. If life offers rivers, build a bridge. Asterisk asterisk. When life gives me pressure, I'll give it a miracle in return. With that resolve, the team secured another victory. After the game, Jackie was sent to the medical room for treatment. Meanwhile, the owner arrived with uplifting news. More and more white children had begun imitating Jackie's batting stance. It was undeniable proof that he was changing the world. Jackie, puzzled, asked the owner why he had gone to such lengths to support him. Surely, there was more to it than met the eye. At the right moment, the owner finally opened up, sharing a story long buried in his past. "Over 40 years ago, I was a baseball coach at a university. There was a brilliant black catcher on our team, but because of the color of his skin, the other white players ostracized him. One winter, they took his clothes and threw him outside in the cold. He froze to death. At the time, I did nothing. That injustice tainted the purity of baseball for me, and I lost my love for the game. But you, Jackie, you've made me fall in love with baseball again. You've given me hope for a pure game once more. Thank you." Carrying the owner's hopes and expectations, Jackie returned to the field, ready for the next challenge. In the critical moments of a tied game, Jackie once again transformed into the Black Lightning, turning the tide and bringing a glimmer of victory to his team. "Jackie, you son of a gun, I can get you." This time, among the people asking for his autograph were 2 white fans. With the team's victory, Jackie finally led them into the championship finals. But the pitcher who had once thrown at his face tried his old tricks again, throwing 2 intentional bad pitches. "You don't belong here, and you never will. Give me something. Give me something I can hit. You want it? What are you afraid of?" On the 3rd pitch, the pitcher delivered a perfect throw, but Jackie stayed calm and swung his bat with precision. "Horse, I don't think he'll get there. Back, back, back and do, oh doctor." Robinson got his pitch in the home run, and Barry the Mule will come back. The Dodgers are going to the World Series. With poise and confidence, Jackie jogged back to home plate, as though everything had been under his control all along. This legendary season came to a perfect close with the sound of his footsteps, while a vibrant new chapter of his journey began. He had finally climbed over the towering wall that once stood in his way. At that moment, even the white fans stood up and cheered for him, their applause thunderous. His number 42 jersey, like the man himself, was destined to be etched deeply into history, forever immortalized. This is a true story. In the years that followed, the teammate who stood up for Jackie went on to become a renowned coach. The Philadelphia coach, Chapman, who had once held deep prejudice against him, was dismissed a year later for various reasons. The young black boy, Ed Charles, who chased the train, stood on the podium as a world champion in 1969, and Jackie himself became one of Major League Baseball's brightest stars. Not only was he inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, but in 1955, he led his team to victory over the formidable Yankees, claiming the World Series championship. Whenever the number 42 is mentioned, it serves as a tribute to Jackie's monumental achievements and a lasting testament to the spirit of baseball. From being the target of scorn at birth, to earning universal admiration, from obscurity to resounding fame, from a fiery temperament to unwavering composure, this journey was not just a showcase of his talent, but a testament to his personal transformation. In this world, no effort is ever wasted, and no success is ever a coincidence. What may seem like luck is merely the culmination of hard work. Every success is a journey of the soul. We climb mountains, not to conquer them, but to discover better versions of ourselves. We give our all, not for perfection, but to experience growth through each transformation. The secret to success lies hidden in every drop of sweat and every tear, shining brightly. We often say, there is no standard path to success. Each of us is the protagonist of our own story. When you reach the water's end, you'll find the clouds rising anew. Will you choose to endure hardship, like King Gojian sharpening his resolve to conquer the enemy? Or will you choose to give it your all in a single powerful strike, carving out a space of your own? Even the murkiest water, when left to settle, will eventually become clear. Even the dullest mind, when given enough effort, can rewrite its destiny. Life is a long race. Some smile at the beginning, but others win at the end. Life never shortchanges those who work hard. The road ahead may be steep and long, but the journey is far from over. There's no need to rush to surpass anyone, no fear of being too late, and no worry about falling short. All we need to do is give our best, without failing ourselves or the time we've been given. The road may be difficult and the journey long, but those who persist will reach their destination.